Firebase is two things. Well, it's a couple things, but the main thing it is a cloud-based service, which means it operates entirely online. And what it does is it allows you to build apps that do all the data management stuff and let Firebase handle all of that for you, and your job is just to write the actual app itself. And so most of the Firebase products do things like Firestore, which is an online database to store things like users, information about your app, things your app needs to store, machine learning, cloud functions, authentication, logging people in, hosting your app, storing like videos, images, pretty much any kind of file you want, a real-time database, test analytics, in-app messaging, predictions. If you want to make money using ads, Firebase will handle all of that for you as well. So Firebase is a really useful resource, and it integrates with a ton of other great tools. I end up using it a ton. Yeah, it integrates with Slack. It's just pretty nice, and I want to show you how to use it today. If you build a mobile app, Firebase is one of the best things to build your mobile app on. And so this is an actual product that people use in production all the time. So if you learn how to use Firebase and you were to go get a job, there are a bunch of companies that are using Firebase in production to build real-world apps. And so this won't be too unfamiliar for you. Now, if you see that thing up there that says Go to Console, everyone see that? Click Go to Console. And it should take you to your Firebase console. Wait for your Firebase console to load. And when it does, it'll bring up an option to either build a new application, add a project, or look at some of your previous projects if you've already used Firebase before. Now, I've already used it before, so I have a couple other projects in here, but I'm going to create a new one with you right now. Are you ready? Now everybody signed up, click Add a Project. Right here. And it should ask for a project name. You can give your project name whatever you want. I'm going to go with Connection, which is probably already taken, right? So let's put like an X in there or something. Connexion. Oh, so that one's got taken too. All right, cool. Let me think of a Connection. Dang, for real. Let's go with K-O-N. Connexion. There we go. Connexion. I can't watch someone take it before me. Classic. You can leave the rest of this though. This is all fine. So give your project a name, and it'll give it its own project ID, and then accept the terms and click Create Project. And then it'll create your project, Connexion. What's that? It doesn't have to be a unique one. I just like finding unique ones sometimes. You can do whatever you want. And when it's done, it'll say your new project is ready. And you can click Continue to keep moving. Yes, Jeremy, question. Once you're in your Firebase console, you'll notice a few things. They have an area for authentication, which is like logging people in. A database to store information about users or whatever you want to hold in there. Storage for images, videos, maybe you want to store pictures of people, audio files, maybe you want to build the next SoundCloud, whatever it is. If you want to be a SoundCloud rapper and you need a place to hold all your stuff, for instance. Or if you want to host your static website or deploy a mobile app somewhere across the world. Or if you want to write cloud functions that do certain things, like maybe they log activity, they let you know the health of your app, stuff like that. Or you want to do machine learning, which is like facial recognition type stuff. Or maybe you want to like do optical character recognition. Or you want to take audio and you want to translate it into a different language. There's lots of different things you can do with machine learning also, but this is a little outside the scope of what I will teach you here. It's still pretty cool though. The one we're mainly going to use is the authentication and the database, for the most part in this application. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to go to authentication right here, and you're going to click this set up sign in method. You see that? click Set Up Sign In Method, which is going to say, how do you want your users to sign into your application? I really only use 2 of them, to be honest. There's a bunch of them you can use here. The only 2 I ever really use, because they're the easiest, are the email and password. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to click Enable, and then save it. And the other one I like is the Google one, just because logging in with Google is almost always the easiest. So I come here, I click this too, and I click Enable. What's that? You can if you want to. I don't really, it doesn't really matter. And then I click Save. And once you do both of those things, project support email. Oh, I guess I have to choose this project support email and then click Save. What's that? Yeah. Now once you've done this, you should have Google login set up, and you should have email and password login set up. Okay? Now those 2 things right there are most of what we're going to need for today. In fact, they're pretty much all we're going to need for today. So what I'm going to show you how to do is I'm going to show you how to have users log into your application using Google. Because I think it's the easiest to do, and it's the quickest, and it's the easiest way to get people signed up for your app pronto. Are you ready? So here's how we're going to do it. Yes.
When you make an app, does it give you back the information that they put in?
Yes. So in right here, what will happen is every time a user logs in, you will see their information logged right here, and you can store additional information about that user under the database tab here. We will get to that in the next lesson. It will not give you their password. You will not get any user's password. It will not store them in your application, and in fact, no password should ever be stored in plain text in any application. We'll talk a little bit more about the security measures behind how you're actually supposed to store passwords, but that's a little outside the scope of this lesson as well. Cool, I'll get to that later on though. Is that all right with you? So actually, you know what? This video is running a little long. I'm going to pause it here, and we're going to implement a login system in the next video. So head back to your apps or Cloud9 now. Let's get started.